asks about the China story and how much weight you'd put in China really bearing the recovery.
I believe that China and the other surplus nations, a bit like here we are talking about, Madoff. If Madoff had been responsible for US GDP accounting, he would have overstated the size of the American economy. Now, we didn't have Bernie, but we had debt, and I believe that the presence of all of this debt in America overstated the size of its economy. And my fear is that China, Japan, Germany, Korea, I think they've built capacity, industrial capacity, to service a world which doesn't exist. So my fear with China, to answer your question, is that it owns 100% of the world's surplus capacity. And so what it represents is a deep out-of-the-money call option on American GDP. Right? So people have become a little bit more bullish in the last 3 months. China's gone up a lot. But I'm not bullish on the progress of American GDP. I think nominal US GDP could grow at 1% for the next 10 years. Now, if that's the case, the last place you want to be is the surplus countries.
Pete writes in from Seattle and says, OK, we accept the view hyperinflation is not going to happen, but if that is the case, what is the road back for a world economy trapped in a deflationary cycle, which it sounds as though you're describing when you talk about that continuous decline in prices?
Yeah. Well, that is a world where we have to get used to a decline in living standards. That is a world we have to get used to less speculation as a means of creating wealth. You don't create wealth. It's not healthy when all of us are creating wealth through the fountain of speculation. We have to get back to a world of making things, of savings. We have to get back to a world of trying to put this government monster back into its bottle. The front page of some of the European newspapers today, they have green protest groups lobbying, indeed suing the British government for its involvement in the banking sector and saying that now loans have to be made on ethical green standards. That's the road to ruin on my opinion. So my true answer, however, is I think ultimately with fiat currencies and democracy that deflation doesn't happen. I'm just saying to you that I think this paranoia today that inflation is happening today, and as we push interest rates up, I think it puts in step a motion for, again, a regression in the economy. And at some point, when it looks again as horrid as it did in October last year, then they get the authority and the legitimacy to step up and truly print money. I think they're not printing enough money, which is a radical proposition, I know, and I apologise for it being so kind of out of the box. But I don't think they're printing enough with regard to the wealth destruction which has happened in the last 18 months. And I think they're being cautioned by Angela Merkel, the German Chancellor, saying this is outrageous. I think they're being cautioned by the Chinese governor, again making the same comment. I think they're being cautioned by gold being at $1,000 and by fears about the dollar. So I think Bernanke gets it, but I think he's been cautioned to take baby steps as he reads Mark Faber saying the US is the next Zimbabwe. And I think history, wouldn't it be ironic if history says Bernanke got it, but Warren Buffett didn't get it, that he was right to worry about deflation. They should have done more. Instead, they were cautioned by all of us, and that we raised interest rates, and actually we killed the golden goose.
Yeah. More with you, Hendry. Let's get back to Becky, though. Let's get an update on what's happening on the current market trade.